What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So, as you might have seen by the title, Errol Spence has broken silence on he who may not be named. Yeah? Because what we do know is Crawford is the 147 boogeyman. He is the 147 Voldemort. He's what the people are calling 147 Amort. Yeah? Terence 147 Amort. People don't want to mention his name. That's what we do know in Taileye. One Don does want to mention his name. And that's why I rate Josh Taylor. Because guess what? Josh Taylor, he brand new. He just basically got there. He just got to the pinnacle and already he's looking for smoke. I mean, we can all call out Canelo Alvarez. We can all call out AJ. But who's really calling out for the 147 Amort? Yeah? Who's calling for Crawford, who don't do no numbers? Who's calling for he who don't do no numbers? Who calling for him? Don't no one want Crawford. The JT does. But anyway, today's a different video. You've seen the title. Errol Spence has broken silence and has spoken on he who he never wants to name. Crawford. Otherwise known as AKA 147 Amort. Yeah? He said the following. I definitely want the fights versus the best welterweights. I definitely want that fight with Crawford. But it's for his guys, Top Rank, and his manager, Bomac, and my guys, Al Heyman and PBC, to talk to see if they can make it happen. He goes on to say, if the two sides can make it, or if the two sides can't make it happen, I've got to move up. I've been here too long. So this for me was a bit of a double speak, if that makes sense. And if I'm honest, I'm not taking this too positively. Initially, Spence just speaking on Crawford is a positive sign, because normally, or about a year ago, he came out and said, oh man, you know, it's 70-30. I ain't going to talk about Crawford, it's 70-30. He on different sides of the streets. About a year ago, he came out and shut it all down and said, listen, there's nothing to talk about. It's 70-30. That's what he said. That's how he left it. Or 60-40. Something super fruity. That's how it was left. So when I first saw that he's finally spoken on he who may not be named, I thought, well, it can only be positive. And then when I read the language, it works out that this was basically doublespeak, meaning that he's setting the scene for his exit. What he doesn't want to do, Spence doesn't want to just go up to 154. Why? Because people can say he's running. So what he'll do instead, he's going to try and pull off a Caleb Plant. Yeah? Oh yeah, I'll fight him. Oh, but we couldn't get it done. Does that make sense? Now I'm not saying maybe Caleb Plant will fight Alvarez, but it's that Caleb Plant type of thing. Oh yeah. And to be fair to Caleb Plant, Spence is the original Caleb Plant because he's been giving it this line for ages. So I don't know why I've called it the Caleb Plant for, because Spence has been giving it this, oh Mina, our teams need to get it together. If our teams, but the way he said, our teams need to work together, that for me sounded positive. But then, again, the second speak. 1 minute, or he started off by saying, yeah, our teams need to come together to make the fight. I want the fight. And then he said, oh, but if they can't make the fight, then I'll have to move up because I've been here too long. That basically means I want the fans to believe I want this fight, but really my plan is to move straight up. Because saying, oh, our teams need to work it out, that's been where this fight's been for the last 3 years. No, Spence. I'm sick of fighters and Spence blaming their teams. I believe, in fact, scrap what I believe. For the longest time, how many years, have we heard from fighters, oh, Mina, I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. I don't have a boss. I'm a big boss. I'm a boss talker. I talk to bosses. We've heard all of that. We've heard all the boss talk. But unfortunately, that works well with all of your goofy hood fans. It don't work with the YB. Because as I've explained many times before, if you're going to give it a hood talk, you best give it the hood action. And the hood action isn't, oh Mina, it's 70-30. It's 70-30. Hood talk would be, listen, I'll pay him to come get this. Not 70-30. 70-30 is the fight ain't going to happen. The real hood talk, the real boss talk would be 50-50. Let's just get it in. And the rematch, the winner takes all. That's what makes sense. The first fight, 50-50. The second fight, the winner, 70-30. That for me would be boss. If Spence came out and said, listen, the first fight will split it down the middle, but any rematch, the winner is 70-30. That's a boss move because you're basically betting on yourself. And anyone who doesn't want to do that contract, it implies they're scared of losing. Because the only way you wouldn't want a 70-30 rematch is if you thought you were going to be the loser. That would be boss move. But coming out and saying 70-30 from the jump just shouts that you don't want the fight. Because I'm sorry, yeah, name does matter to some extent, but your name ain't all that, Spence. I'm sorry, it's not. Your name ain't pulling that kind of weight where you should be talking about different numbers. I feel if and when Spence beats Crawford, that's when at 147 he can talk about splits. But you need to get that Crawford under your belt. You can't be calling the Canelo shots now. You ain't the Canelo yet. You haven't had that big headline win. Now I think the Crawford win would give you that kind of clout. I mean, I'm not saying to the casual fans, but I mean in terms from my point of view, which is the boxing hardcore. From the boxing hardcore point of view, if you beat Crawford, I will give you, you know what I'm saying? The boxing hardcore won't mind you pulling boss moves in the future. If you beat Crawford, you can talk about 70-30 to whoever else you want. If you beat Crawford and you want to tell Keith Thurman it's 70-30, so be it. If you beat Crawford and you want to tell, I don't know, someone else at 154 that you're at 70-30, so be it. But you haven't got that big headline win. We don't know you're the boss yet. You haven't made it clear. Beating washed up Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, they're just not it. They're not undefeated fighters. And this whole doublespeak, for me, it's just not a good look. And this shows that Spence is becoming a true politician. He's thinking about how to manipulate the fans. Oh, Mina, if our teams can get it together. You should come out and say, listen, scrap the teams, I'm a boss. I want this fight. How about me and Crawford sit down and get it done? Because ultimately, if you're a boss, which they all say they are, why do you need to give it to your team for? And that's what I'm saying. When people mention their teams, it means they're looking to not get the fight done. Because if I want to fight, I inbox Crawford and say, Crawford, let's take an hour out of our day. I'll fly out to where you are, or we'll fly to some neutral location and we'll sit down and get this done. We'll book a hotel. You know what I'm saying? We'll go out for a meal. Let's get the fight done. That's how more fights should be done, in my opinion. But unfortunately, guess what? It's like AJ. AJ back in 2019 said, please Wilder, please Fury, I'm begging to get in your knickers. Let's fly out and get a discussion going on. Fury and Wilder didn't want to do it. Why? Because they're not serious about the fight. When men are serious, they get together and meet up. And it's not rocket science here. I'm not being funny. You don't even need to meet up if you're serious. So it's kind of a catch-22. People who are serious don't need to meet up. It just gets done over email. But either way, the minute I hear people talking about the minute I hear people who have been talking about boss mention their teams all of a sudden, it's an easy way out. Oh, Mina, well, I wanted to fight, but my team couldn't get it done. No. Guess what? Why is it these goofies like Spence? He never has to ask his team when he's fighting Danny Garcia, does he? He never has no problem signing a fight against Danny Garcia. Never has a problem. He doesn't need to ask his team when he's fighting Sean Porter, who he actually thought was washed. That's why he fought that fight. But either way, notice Spence hasn't mentioned nothing about no rematch, has he? Yeah, you best believe he's running to 154 because he don't want none of Sean Porter no more. That's why he's going up. Another reason he can't hang around. Another 147 or more. Yeah? But anyway, it's unfortunate. Spence, the way I look at it though, it's good in two ways. Or it's good in one way at least. It means that soon Spence will have to fight Alvarez. And then we'll see how big and bad he is, because it works both ways. If you're too big for 147, you're going to find yourself quickly at 160. And let's see how hard you are then. But then again, I've got a feeling Spence is going to play it smart. I reckon Spence will go up to 154 and hang there for the rest of his career, because he ain't going to want to go up to the 160s. And even then, will Alvarez come back down to 160? I don't know. So Spence may have played this to perfection. Stay down at 147, Alvarez moves up, and he's slowly moving up now, conveniently. Because there ain't no one dominant at 154. I think you've got Charlo there, I'm not sure, but either way, not dominant, in my opinion. So, listen. Again, there's no new news here, apart from don't expect the Crawford fight. Expect Spence to fight Pacquiao. I hope Pacquiao beats him. He needs to be beat. I've seen Pacquiao on the pads. Pacquiao looks good. We've just got to hope that Spence comes in even more flat-footed than normal. Hopefully Spence comes in to bang. Because that's Pacquiao's best chance. If Spence tries to pull the Floyd Mayweather, even though he's not Floyd Mayweather, so he won't be able to pull it off, but still, the best bet is Spence comes to get stuck in. Because am I saying Pacquiao's going to run through him? No, but either way, that for me will be a wicked fight. I mean, look at Pacquiao versus Furman. Furman was running all night. Spence isn't as fleet-footed as Furman. And I'm just hoping we get to see Pacquiao tee off on Spence, because I think some of these new fighters, some of these new age fighters, they're not used to getting hit by Hall of Famers. They're used to getting hit by Danny Garcia, who don't really turn up. Pacquiao's not afraid to go spark out. These new age fighters, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, who else we got? There's a whole load of new age fighters. These new age fighters, they're cut from different cloth. They're soft, yeah? They don't like getting hit. They're afraid to get knocked out. Pacquiao ain't afraid to get knocked out. He's been there before. There's no skin off his back. And he's old as well. He's got a built-in excuse. He's got nothing to lose, essentially. And on that basis, I like the odds of if Spence is there to be hit, it's 50-50. Because Pacquiao just hits different, in my opinion. Pacquiao hits different to anyone Spence has fought. And is a southpaw as well. So that advantage Spence normally has won't be there. I mean, it's a cracking fight. I'm hoping Pacquiao wins. That'll be good for the division, because Pacquiao whoops Spence, then finally Spence gets off his high horse, thinking he's a big hard ass, thinking he's a boss. He's a boss that needs to ask his team and his daddy, Al Heyman, to breathe. You scary.